What God is revealing about heaven is the duality of having true goodness and true life, but at the same time needing to be worthy of it, needing to truly have righteousness in our lives. Humanity is very guilty of us wanting that goodness. We want to have joy and peace, and there's a very certain degree that that's not a guilty thing. But the guilt is that we are so pursuing that, so seeking our own end, and we are completely unconcerned with righteousness and godliness. We're really unconcerned with whether we are worthy to have those good things. And this is the strong deception that is over the minds of a great majority of humanity, and I include a lot of Christians in that, is that we are just busy trying to have our good, have our pleasure, have our end, and we don't see how wicked it is to not be as equally concerned with being righteous, with really being worthy of inheriting the land of milk and honey. We just want the milk and honey, and we're just demanding it, and we don't care how wretched and undeserving we are. And this is the balance that God is showing about heaven. Heaven is a place where God is going to give us all that good. He's going to give us the milk and the honey, the food and the joy and the peace. But he is looking for a people who are going to be worthy of it. A people who are righteous, who are clean. And it's that duality. See, people make others miserable by presenting God's heaven as a place of just a 24/7 church service, and as if God's not prepared to give us that full goodness, as if God's not going to give us a garden, as if God's not going to give us new heavens and a new earth where righteousness dwells. That's what we're hoping for. We're hoping for that rest. We're hoping for that enjoyment, the turquoise water and the beautiful mountains. We're hoping for that. But as it is, we're looking at being worthy of it. We don't need to run and make those things happen for ourselves. God will make those things happen. And that's the unbelief of the world, is we're chasing those things instead of giving ourselves to the work that God is setting before us to be worthy of that place. And heaven is the marriage of that. Heaven is the marriage of the land of milk and honey, the Garden of Eden, the beautifulness. But us truly being people in white, us being people who are holy and righteous and being worthy of it. One of the ways you can see the sin in man most clearly is how we expect good, but we do not equally expect of ourselves to do good. We want peace, we demand peace, but we don't equally work for peace. This is the wickedness of man. And one of the strongest deceptions going on in the church today is that you will have heaven even though you don't work for heaven. That you will have heaven and all this good, and you're not really doing the work of righteousness. You're not really doing the work to know God, to know sin, to know righteousness, and to be changed and to walk in everything God is putting before us. And that is... People think that that's a gracious thing. They think, oh, I'm just, basking in God's forgiveness. What they're basking in is the heart of a sinner. They're basking in that godlessness. They're basking in that lawlessness, that they're not concerned with being worthy of heaven. They're just sitting down like a pouting toddler expecting it to be given to them. And they don't see how wicked their presumption is, how wicked that self-serving is. That's why God is telling us to put our hand to the plow, to seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, because we believe and trust God that if we are truly giving ourselves to godliness and righteousness, if we truly give ourselves to the pursuit of these things, then God will abundantly reward us. He will reward the righteous. He will repay the righteous. And that's what we're trusting in. Many people today are enjoying God, and they think that just enjoying God is kind of the whole point. And there is much that we enjoy of God. We enjoy his presence. We enjoy his goodness. But we have to be really careful to not be deceived that we are also keeping our vows, that this is the point. God is giving us all this wonderful goodness in himself and by his providence. But we have to return to God. We have to keep our vows and perform our vows, which are that righteousness of pursuing that righteousness. And so many are showing themselves to be unworthy of God, to be unworthy of godly relationships because they're not pursuing that righteousness, and they think that they're glorifying God by like talking about how they're enjoying him, but they're showing themselves as wicked because they're not matching that with an earnest pursuit of righteousness and integrity.